Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Today, I am joined by not only an amazing DJ, but an amazing friend of mine, Joni. Joni, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. And how are you?
I'm doing very well. I am so excited to have you here. We met through one of our mutual best friends, Sweet and Spooky, over on her channel. We did our table screams together, and this was amazing. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about you a little bit. Joni is a DJ, composer, horror writer, film student, horror film critic, YouTuber, and Sweet and Spooky's executive producer. Some of the things that you are attached to at the moment, obviously, you're the creator of the Bloody Statue Awards, an online international annual event that awards horror movies every Halloween on October 31st, as well as gathering YouTubers, horror movie content creators, and film critics. You are also the host of the recent Brazilian horror movie review YouTube channel called Criticos de Filmes de Terror, which is something that's super amazing. You being, I can just, with your charisma, I don't think there's anything like that that you couldn't do. So it's amazing to see all these amazing things that you're a part of. But you watch everything from old mute black and white horror movies to modern releases. You just love all kinds of horror fiction. So before we go on to talk about some of this stuff, table screams. Over on Sweet and Spooky's channel, they do table screams. And what that is they do a movie and you just act the movie out through Skype or Zoom or what have you, live for an audience. And we were able to be a part of one of my favorite movies of all time, The Cabin in the Woods, with you guys. So how long have you been a part of the table screams?
Since day one, since the beginning, it was something that Celise and I we talked about because she's an actress and she has to act. So I pushed her a little bit and said, do it. And she did it.
And what's awesome about it is when we get together, like it was so amazing every week getting together and watching everybody grow with each other and become a part of the group. And with the table screams, is this something that you could see happening indefinitely? Is this something you would like to continue to do forever?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've always wanted to, be in a horror movie in some sort. And if this is the closest thing I can get to be in a horror movie, then I'll take it. It's so much fun to do,
And that's the thing, like rehearsals are just as fun, like watching you, because you guys are obviously the veterans of this, and Ashley and I were the amateurs when it came to the table screams, and watching your guys' flow with each other and how you guys make stuff up on the spot and your voice acting work. You especially, like the voices that you could do and you would pull off. They were amazing, like they were truly, truly great. And not just at the end when you did your Sigourney, but even when you were doing some of the oddball ones. We got something going on in level 2. Like you were legit amazing when we were doing it. So is voice acting something you've ever considered doing?
No, actually, no. I just do it. I'm not an actor.
Right.
No way, shape, or form. I just go with the flow, really.
Well, I'm telling you, I think even if you never want to get on the screen, I think voice acting is something you'd be great at because your ability to stay straight faced while you're doing all these crazy, insane things with your voice is phenomenal. And I love watching you work. It was amazing. And after we're done, I got a couple things I want to talk to you about, but that's one thing I wanted to let you know that I think you were really amazing at that.
Thank you.
Now, the Bloody Statue Awards. Unfortunately, I kind of left you high and dry last year. Time got ahead of me, and I kind of screwed you over. And I want to publicly say, I'm sorry. Anybody that knows me knows that's not who I am. I am so. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it, and that's one thing my mother taught me, and I'm very good about. And last year, just time got away from me, and we were so busy at that time. So I want to publicly apologize now. But what can you tell people a little bit about the Bloody Statue Awards?
You don't need to apologize. This always next time, and you're always invited. But let's go. The Bloody Statue Awards. It's crazy because we, as horror fans, we know that the Oscars, they don't give a about the genre. So it was time for horror fans to get together and said, let's make this happen. Let's award the best of the best horror films out there and give them the recognition they deserve.
Yeah.
So we've been doing it for almost 10 years now. It was mostly only in Brazil, but then the thing just got international like suddenly. We didn't know how this happened, but it did. And suddenly there was a lot of people also making their own award shows And we're like, okay, you can do it, but we're still doing ours, and we're the OGs. So let me just tell you that 10 years now, and we're still here. We're doing
And
it.
you guys are still kicking ass. And I promise you, Sledgehammer Horror will be a part of it this year. I can't wait to be a part of it. It's such an honor to be invited to do such these cool things with you guys. And, you know, we look up to you guys. You guys have done so many great things for the community. And to have you here and be a part of your life now is such an amazing thing, not just for me, but for Ashley as well. Now, Criticos de Films de Terror, what's
Ooh.
the main idea behind this?
Well, first, congratulations on your Portuguese, because everyone who speaks Portuguese will totally understand what you just said. So congratulations, you said it right. Um, it's it's what makes the Bloody Statue Awards happen, because the Bloody Statue Awards is something that happens only once a year.
Mm-hmm.
But if your channel only posts videos once a year, it's not gonna work.
Right.
And our audience is mainly Brazilian, so we need to keep that audience going every day. So the idea to have a channel that will keep them going week by week and still having the Bloody Statue Awards, it was born from that. And also my team, which is the movie critics, who actually pick the movies and put them into the categories and vote for the best and the worst. They are the critics, the críticos, as we say in
Right.
Portuguese. So we are the horror movie critics, os críticos de filmes de terror.
Well, and what's amazing about that is, like you said, um, especially when you are an influencer, it doesn't matter if you have 10 subscribers or 10 million subscribers. The minute you're an influencer, you got to be a positive influence. And if you're only doing that once a year, maybe some people are going to leave the genre. They're not going to stay up to date and in tune with what we're doing. And horror, to me, obviously there are gatekeepers and there are douchebags, just like everything else. But overall, I've had a very, very, very pleasant experience in the horror community. I've met a lot of amazing people, and it doesn't matter what sex, race, religion, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. The minute that you want to talk about horror, we're in love with you. And the fact that you are continuing to promote that, throughout Brazil, and, it's made its way overseas. And that's the importance of horror and the importance of YouTube in general, to keep all of us horror fans connected. And that's how we all meet each other. And that's how we become such great friends. And I couldn't be more happy and proud of you for all the work that you're doing. And like you said, 10 years strong, and you're still out here kicking ass. So I'm so proud of you and all the amazing things that you've done. And for anybody watching, if you haven't had the chance to check this out, you don't got to go far, because all the links are right down here in the description. So make sure you're clicking the social media links. Make sure you're clicking the YouTube, hitting subscribe, hit follow. Joni is somebody you're going to want to follow, because not only is it a jack of all trades with everything that Joni's doing, but at the same time, all the YouTube stuff is just amazing. Like I said, to continue to bring horror to a whole new audience is something we all strive for. I would love for somebody that's never watched horror movies to watch one of my interviews and go, wow, I would love to check that movie out because of the person on the other end. So this is such an amazing experience to bring new people into horror. So make sure you're clicking these links down here. Make sure you're subscribing and following on social media. So Joni, we know you got a lot going on in your life in the future and right now. But real quick, I want to bounce back to the past and talk about what got you started in the horror genre, your first horror movie. And this is kind of a doozy now. Your first horror movie was
Scream.
Look at that. Now, we've all talked about the importance of Scream and how important Scream is to us as horror fans. And to be honest with you, the importance Scream is commercially as a film. Now, obviously, I got the Scream tattoo when I was a kid, the actual painting. I went to get, you can't really see it. There we go. I went to get Ghostface, and the tattoo artist was like, how about we do the painting instead? You might not regret that when you're older. I still don't regret it, but Ghostface would have been dope as hell. Do you remember about how old you were the first time you had seen it?
Yeah, I was 6 years old only. I shouldn't be watching it, but I was. And,
Well, what an amazing age to start, because something I've talked about before, I feel like us horror fans, this isn't a dig at anybody. And again, this is not professional opinion. This is just sledgehammer opinion here. I feel like if you watched horror as a young child and you got the education to go along with it about right and wrong, you're more grounded in reality as an adult, because you understand the differences between fantasy and reality, fact and fiction. And I don't know anybody that's ever watched a scary movie that wanted to go cut somebody. It just doesn't work like that. I feel like, obviously, as long as there's education to go along with it, as long as you have people around to educate you on the differences, I feel like you're more grounded in reality. So, that's my segue. Do you remember who you were with when you watched it for the first time?
I was all alone because, my family, they used to watch soap operas, and suddenly Scream was going to be on TV right after the soap opera was done. So I was there just waiting because I saw the trailer for it and I liked the mask. So it was the
Yeah.
mask that brought me in. So I watched, and the next day I was like, Mommy, I want a mask just like that. And she gave me one, and it all started from that. I was never scared because my mom always taught me that these things are not real. You're not supposed to be afraid of. So I was never a kid who was afraid of the dark or the boogeyman. I was afraid of real things. So this helps. And thank you, Mom.
Right. If she's watching, love you, Mama Joni.
Yeah.
But you're right. The ability for her to educate you on this isn't real. You have nothing to be scared of. That probably really helped, because as children, it's just in our nature to fear things that we don't know. And that doesn't really go away as you get older, but you're able to understand a little bit more as you get older. And Scream is one of these movies that I think is dynamite. I think that it has stood the test of time. I think it brought a whole new audience to the horror genre. And I hate to sound like an old man, but when Scream came out, it really was hip. It was cool. And it made people that never got into horror like horror because it was so meta and it had a really cool teen cast. And, you had Courtney Cox, fresh off of Friends. You have all these amazing things that are happening. And it's a movie that has so many affected scenery. But Joni, what would you say the scene was that affected you the most from Scream?
It was probably the chase scenes, like the chase sequences with Sydney in Stu's house. That really got me. It was so intense. I mean, I was a kid, 6 years old. I haven't seen anything like it before. And it was so cool. I wasn't like, oh, this is scary. No, it was like, this is so cool.
Right.
I want more of this.
Getting your adrenaline going.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was never a kid who likes to watch cartoons. I mean, at 7, I would watch South Park, not Powerpuff Girls. I mean, I was that kid.
Right.
So my sense of humor is trouble. So sometimes, even with Celise, I have to hold myself back and be careful to the things that come out of my mouth because they can be too much. So I am that person.
Trust me, I get it. I completely understand where you're coming from. And the thing is, it's not like there's any insensitivity about it, but we just grew up a little bit different. It's hard to stop saying things that we're used to saying. And again, I'm not making excuses for anybody. There's no room in this world for hatred or bigotry. But sometimes, the dark thoughts come to our mind because that's what we grew up with, was dark thoughts. I'm telling you, man, people at my mom's funeral probably thought I was insane because of how I was acting, but I was devastated, and that's how I got through it. So Joni, we know which scene affected you the most from Scream, but what would you say your favorite scene from the original Scream is?
Oh my God, I can't pick one. I can't. Don't do this to me. It's like asking a mother to pick her favorite child. You can't do this to me. Don't do it.
Well, I'm always partial to Randy's.
Everybody's a suspect.
Well, I mean, yeah, maybe, but I was too young to actually understand the movie. I
Right.
didn't really get it, what was going on, until I was like 14, 15. And then I was like, oh, this movie's genius. This is so smart. But at first it was just, yay, he's chasing her. Cool. It was just like that. I was a kid. Come on.
Which is funny because now with Scream 2022 being released, you go back and watch this, and that whole video store scene has a whole different feeling to it now. Like, you see Billy over there talking to those girls, and you're like, is one of them the mom? Like, what's going on here? So there's so many different things that come to my mind when I watch this movie now, and how the continuity has stayed together. So one thing about horror movies, Joni, and I'm sure you'll agree, we all love the kills. The kills are our bag. That's what we love. Which kill from Scream would you say stuck with you the most?
Oh, Tatum. Yes, of course.
And it's funny because it's always, either Tatum because it's amazing, it's the strongest garage door ever, or Drew Barrymore, just because that was such an unexpected thing for everybody. We're watching this movie like, oh, there's our final girl. Holy shit, she's dead. Like, it was amazing. And the marketing for the movie, how Drew Barrymore was the one out there doing all the interviews, and you're ready to watch the little girl from E.T. and Firestarter be your final girl, and she's dead at the beginning. And that's one thing about this movie. They were not afraid to take risks when they were making the film.
Yes, totally. But that's Wes Craven, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's Wes
Exactly.
Craven.
And we also talk about Scream as part of a franchise. And if we're giving opinions here, I think that Scream is the best franchise in the horror genre. It's not my favorite. My favorite will always be Child's Play, but I think that Scream is the best when it comes to consistency of great movies. And I have a lot of people like, what about Scream 3? Look, Scream 3 isn't great. But if Scream 3 is the worst movie you've made in your franchise,
Then we're
holy
fine.
shit. Yes. And I
We're
still
fine.
enjoy Scream 3. I have fun with that movie. Like, I watch that movie and I have a great time, especially with everything they went through behind the scenes. To still put out a movie with that type of quality, A-okay in my book. But of the 5 films that we have at the time of recording, which film of the franchise would you say is your favorite?
Don't do this to me.
And remember, we're not saying which one is the best, just which one is your person. Okay, me and you are hanging out tonight. I've never watched any Scream movies, and you have to pick one for me to watch. Which one are you going to choose?
Okay, so prepare for my answer. It's going to be the first one, only because I'm not going to watch only one Scream. If I'm doing Scream, I'm doing all of them.
You're going to
So-
marathon it.
Exactly.
Okay, well, here you go. I'm going to keep poking the bear here with some favorites. I've never asked this before on a Scream episode. This is gonna be the first time I've ever asked this. So the inaugural question, which I will ask from now on any Scream episode, which of the Ghostface killers was your personal favorite?
Mickey.
Really?
Yeah.
I love it.
Didn't see it coming, did you?
No, I did not, Mickey. I did not see that coming. That's great.
Well, yeah, I love Mickey because I'm a huge fan of Timothy Olyphant, and he's so good in that performance. And also, just if I'm crazy, you can tell me, but isn't it Mickey totally queer?
Oh, he is.
My God.
He is.
That scene where he's telling Sydney why he did it, blah, blah, blah. He goes like, it's like theater. Everyone's dying for it. Like, it's so gay. It's so gay. Come on.
And the way he runs the knife down Jerry O'Connell.
Oh,
Like, yeah.
a surprise guest just for you.
Yeah,
Like, come
yeah.
on. Come on.
I love it. And, they've always had, that's another thing about Scream is it's always had its very queer undertones, even with Billy and Stu. They've always had those little bit of queer undertones. And I love the fact that they have that there for you, but there's not something that they're trying to they're leaving it up to you to find these things. And I think that's brilliant. Again, it's the brilliance of Wes Craven. And, I've always loved to see movies that were LGBTQ before, and I hate to say it like this, but before it was cool. I hate that there's any type of fashion with it. It's not a fashion choice. It's who you are. You can't change who you are. I can't change the fact I'm a straight white guy. I can't change that. And anybody that's part of the LGBTQ community that's struggling with yourself, do not be afraid to be who you are. We have maybe, if we're lucky, 100 years on that planet. Please do not waste any of that time being upset or being scared, afraid of who you are. Be who you are. Love who you love. You don't have a lot of time. So don't spend any of it unhappy. I just don't understand it. I don't understand how you can look at somebody and not like them because of who they are. Like I said, it's not a choice they've made. It's who they are. I can't look at somebody and know I don't like that person before I've met them. It's despicable. There's no room in this world for that type of hatred and bigotry and ignorance. And I've had people, what if it was your kid? I would rather my kid be who they are and be happy than fake who they are and be miserable to make me happy. If you're happy and you're in love, I love you and you're my kid. I'm going to love you no matter what. If you kill somebody, I'm going to tell you how stupid you were the whole time we're burying the body, but I'm going to help you bury the body. Just whatever you do, I love you and I want you to be safe. And that's all that matters. So if you're watching this and you're scared to be who you are, please don't. You always have people there that are there to help you. Reach out to Joni, reach out to me. Our DMs are always open if you need someone to confide in. So it's very important to be who you are in the short time you have on this planet. So let's bounce back to Scream real quick. I usually ask people, is this a movie you'd like to see remade today? Now, obviously with Scream still going strong, let's do this instead. What's your hot take prediction for Scream 6?
Oh God. Honestly, like guys, I am terrible at guessing who the killer is. I never did. Never once in my life. I am terrible because I don't try to discover the mystery. I just let the mystery
Right.
be the mystery. So
Yep.
I don't do predictions. I am just hoping that Gail Weathers is not killed in this next movie, because or else you're going to be watching the news on your comfortable homes and suddenly the guy is going to say like, a crazy fan murders Scream writers. So leave Gail alone, or else we're gonna have trouble. Okay, but the
Yeah, we've
rest,
already
kill
lost
them
him.
all. Kill them all. I don't care. People sometimes watch slasher movies and they go, "Oh, I'm so glad that character survived." I'm like, kill them all. Like, I'm here to watch these people die. I don't care.
Except
No,
Gail.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. There are characters that we do care, but like, if they die, we'll be like, "Oh, they died." But isn't that why we're here for? To suffer while they die? Isn't that the
Mhm.
point? But like,
That's why we
Gail-
grow attached to them.
yeah, but don't kill Gail. Just her. Everybody else you can kill it. Just don't kill Gail, and we'll be fine.
My hot take, you guys heard it here first. My hot take, Mindy Meeks is going to eat it in the new Scream, much like
Ooh.
Randy Meeks ate it in Scream 2. I think they're going to go after Mindy this go around. That's my prediction. That's my big hot take right there. But, and Joni, so I think I know the answer to this question, but I got to ask you anyway. We talked about Scream being your first horror movie and what it means to you. And while we're on the topic, my little buddy Ghostface here does have a question for you.
Ooh.
What's your favorite scary movie, Joni? What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
It is Scream.
I knew it was.
It is. I can't lie about that.
And listen, I think Scream is a great movie. I think it's an amazing movie, but there is one scene that bothers me very much. And everybody that knows me knows this. Okay. You have a scene of Sydney in the van with Kenny, and they're watching the tape and they see Ghostface sneaking up on Randy, right?
Yeah.
Getting ready to kill Randy. Okay. Well, then she leaves the van, and a little bit later, maybe 10 minutes, you have Stu and Randy there, and she has a gun, and she's like, "Fuck you both," and she shuts the door on him. I'm like, Sydney, you just watched Randy sitting on that couch about to be killed. You know it's not him. What are you doing here? You are killing me by killing my boy Randy. Because at this point, I'm pretty sure Randy's going to die while I'm watching, you know? And the first time I seen it, I was like, you know he's not a killer. He was just on that couch with Ghostface behind him. So that's one scene for me that I was like, Sydney, what are you doing? Well, you're killing me here.
Yeah, but she couldn't let just one of them in because that would cause trouble. Because both of them were her friends. And like, if you turn it back to one friend, this tells a lot about you. So she just shoved the door on both of them. So yeah, you go, Sydney.
Still broke my heart. Randy was my guy.
No, Randy was amazing, and I cried when he died. But yeah,
I was really bummed when he died. And like I said, I really think that Mindy's going to meet that same fate in this one. It's going to break my heart just as much because Mindy was probably my favorite of the new cast. And that's not a bash. I love Scream 2022. I'm not one of the people that is so anti. I think Scream 2022 was well written. I think it was well acted. I thought the killers were probably the most predictable of any that we've had so far. But you go into it a second time and watch it again, it doesn't matter who the killers are. You're still going to have a great time. And obviously, with Psycho being in my top 10 favorite horror movies, I love the other homage we get to Psycho. You know, they're always making Psycho references throughout the Scream movies. You know, we all go a little mad sometimes. Or in part 4, how his name is Sheriff or Detective Anthony Perkins. You know, and in the new one, you have the shower scene. Like, it's just, I love all the love that Scream gives Psycho. So, Joni, as always, I had an amazing time hanging out with you and talking horror. It's something I could do with you every single day. But before I let you go, I have one last question for you. And again, I think I know the answer, but I got to ask. We're going to go back to Scream. And what we're going to do is rank Scream on a skull count. Now, we're not judging it on acting, production, score, nothing like that. What we're doing is strictly judging this movie on how much it affected you on first viewing. So 0 skulls being not effective, 5 being extremely effective. You can use half and quarter skulls anywhere in the middle. What would your ranking of Scream be?
oh my God. Is this a jigsaw trap? Am I being tortured here? What's going on? This is supposed to be fun. Okay, let me think. Jesus. Well, the first one clearly affected me the most because it was the one that started it all. It started me in
Right.
horror. So yeah, five skulls. Is that it?
I would say it has to be, because especially with the amount that you do for the horror community, this movie started that for you. So it obviously had that much of an influence on your life. So I would think that it had to be like, that's like House for me. House will always be a 5 skull because that was the first one I watched, and it really started that trajectory of horror for me. So, guys, we are at the end of the third act. The credits are about to roll, the curtain's about to drop, and all good things must come to an end. But before they do, there's some links down here in the description that need your loving. So make sure you're clicking these links. Joni, don't go anywhere. I got a couple more questions for you.
Oh yes.
Everybody else, as always, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.